In what ways can we manage our time for assessment? I really like to discuss this because we need to cut our grading or assessment time in half. In flexible learning, when we grade or check our students' work, it means more time in front of our gadgets, in front of our screen. That would mean less time for physical activity. And if we have less time for physical activity, we are putting our health at risk, right? So let's be practical. So there are 20 tips from the book that I will also share in the Google Classroom. But let me just share some of the tips that I find useful in the context of formative assessment. Some of the tasks that you will give to the learners will not be labeled as tasks or quiz or test. Rather, label these activities as practice or feedback. We encourage our learners to own their learning experience, no, not just to simply aim for a particular score. Number 10 tip from the book, from the ebook is three before me. It's about giving opportunities for learners to do peer review or peer feedback. Number 13 tip is shorthand your feedback. You may use codes, especially if we go back to face-to-face instruction wherein you need to write something on the paper. So instead of writing very lengthy feedback, you just have to use code. Share the rubric first to your class, no? And in the rubric, you indicate in there the codes na say, 1A, amo ni siya nga particular criterion, kinahanglan mo da siya gali mag-improve. Or you may just simply have codes for commonly used feedback. I say, run on sentence, not clear, can you elaborate? Ayan. So we just have to present these codes first to our learners, or you can share these codes in the Google Classroom. Now, if you're using Google Classroom, and for our colleagues in the external campuses, now if you have printed modules, you can print one page of feedback codes, for your learners to refer to. So you don't need to write very lengthy feedback if codes are used. Number 14 tip, automate your feedback. You can create a list of feedback and comments, and what you can do is just simply copy and paste. For similar responses from the students, you can also give group feedback to them. You may use Google Forms, and you just have to make sure that you have clicked this one, choose this option, make this a quiz, and you can click and add answer feedback. So for each choice, you can give a feedback. So you just have to click add answer feedback, and you may have options for incorrect answers and correct answers. You may specify the feedback here, type in a sentence or two, and you may direct a student to a particular link or a video. Have you tried Turnitin? I highly encourage you to use Turnitin, especially for research papers. This will save us time. Using Turnitin, you can have the automatic feedback. For example, we have here article error, or information about the similarity rating. So this will give us information where the text came from. So in my research class, I would ask my student to upload the paper and turn it in, and then we agree on a particular similarity rating. Then automatically the learners can improve their paper. Okay, number 20, screencasting. You may screen record the output of your learner, and while you are browsing the output, you may narrate what needs to be improved. I sometimes use audio recording in Messenger. So you can use that video recording or audio recording in giving feedback to our learners if we use Messenger. And let me just give my own personal tips for you. The first one is consider students' workload. One reason why the students struggle in the past year in terms of submission may perhaps be the bulk of work that they have to do. So if you will give an assessment task or any material, indicate in your material or in the classroom, in the printed module, how much time do you think will the learners need in order to cover this, in order to accomplish this? And perhaps you can also ask feedback from them. Do you think that the time allotment is enough? That will also allow our learners to manage their time effectively, be reflective on the amount of work that we give to our learners. Because for sure, this will also have implication to our own workload. We are required to render 40 hours of service in the university, but for sure we work for more than 40 hours every week. But we have to be mindful also on the amount of time that we spend in front of the computer because we also need time for self-care. Number two, look for themes and give class feedback. In the classroom, you can give class comments. You can actually do that in any other platform or learning management system. Let me just end my talk by reminding everyone that more does not mean better. And I do hope that you will take time to reflect on your formative assessment practices and ensure that the assessment tasks that we give to our learners are indeed aligned to our learning outcomes.